Welcome to Wise Wolf. My name is Kokil. I'm coming to you today, not tonight, under the solar eclipse of August 12, 2026. The sun disappears at midday. The stars appear in the middle of summer. The birds go to roost. The temperature drops. The mathematics of the universe writes itself across the sky in a way that anyone can see with their naked eye, and then erases itself in a matter of minutes. Today we talk about probability, about the mathematics of possibility, about what it means to fall in love with the language that the universe is speaking. Let's begin. The sky today. A solar eclipse happens when the moon passes precisely between the earth and the sun. And the extraordinary thing, the thing that makes the total solar eclipses possible at all, is the fact that the sun is 400 times larger than the moon and exactly 400 times further away. The result is that from the earth, both disks appear almost exactly the same size. The moon fits over the sun like a lid. The probability of this exact ratio existing in the only solar eclipse we know of, around the only planet we know to have observers to notice it, is, depending on how you frame the question, either extraordinary or inevitable. Today, the sun's light is distributed unevenly, deliberately, mathematically, to a specific path across the surface of the earth. The path of totality, the narrow corridor where the moon's shadow falls completely, is approximately 100 kilometers wide and crosses parts of Western Europe and North Africa. The planet Venus will be visible. The solar corona, the sun's outer atmosphere, normally invisible, will blaze around the dark disk of the moon, and then it will end. Within 4 minutes at most, the light returns, the birds unroost, the flowers reopen, the world resumes. How does the Earth respond to the eclipse? This is the most striking demonstration available to the naked eye that the Earth's biology is entrained to the light. When the eclipse shadow crosses, animals respond as if to genuine nightfall. The temperature drops 3 to 5 degrees Celsius within minutes. These responses have been documented in solar eclipse records going back centuries. Darwin noted them in his journals. A recent systematic study across the 2017 North American eclipse documented thousands of wildlife responses in real time. The biology is not confused by the eclipse. It is responding with perfect accuracy to what's really happening. And in the leaves of every plant in the path of the eclipse, something fascinating is occurring simultaneously. Photosynthesis is switching off immediately. The light receptors in the chloroplasts are exquisitely sensitive. The plant is always, in every moment, reading the probability of continued photosynthesis based on current light levels. The eclipse interrupts that probability with sudden certainty. Photosynthesis itself, on any normal day, operates at the quantum level. The energy absorbed from a photon of light must travel from the antenna complex where it is captured to the reaction center where it is used. This journey is so short and the time window so tight that classical physics predicts it should be impossibly inefficient. And yet photosynthesis achieves near perfect efficiency. The reason, demonstrated in the last 2 decades of physics research, is quantum coherence. The energy explores all possible paths simultaneously and takes the most efficient one. Plants are running quantum computation. They have been doing this for 4 billion years. Every leaf, every moment, solving a problem that the most advanced quantum computers that we have built can only approximate. The Vedic teaching, Rita and the field of all possibility. The Rig Veda, the oldest of the four Vedas, composed approximately 3,500 years ago, opens with a concept called Rita. It is usually translated as cosmic order or natural law, but it is something more precise than law in the legislative sense. Rita is the underlying pattern that makes the sun rise, the seasons turn, the rains come, the salmon return. Not because a rule says they must, but because reality at its deepest level is structured this way. It is in fact one of my favorite subjects to explore. Rita is the probability structure of the universe, the vast, dependable, mathematically precise order within which everything we call chance and everything we call inevitability both operate. The eclipse happens because of Rita, the moon orbiting at exactly the speed and distance it orbits, the sun at exactly the distance it sits, the geometry of three bodies producing a shadow of exactly the right size at exactly the right time. The probability of this specific eclipse occurring, given the initial conditions of the solar system, is 1. It was always going to happen. It was also, at some earlier point, not yet determined. Both are true. The Upanishadic description of Brahman, the infinite, is that it is the ground of all possibility, not a thing among other things, but the field within which all things arise. Physicists describe the quantum vacuum in similar terms: the ground state of the universe, the state of minimum energy from which all particles and forces emerge as excitations. The quantum vacuum is not empty, it is full of potential. Every particle that will ever exist is, in some sense, already there as a probability wave. Both physics and Vedanta are looking at the same boundary and asking the same question: where does the observer end and the observed begin? And both, at the frontier of the inquiry, are finding that the boundary is less clear than it first appeared. Shankara's formulation that the world is neither real or unreal, not nothing, not the final level, like the eclipse, the darkness is real. The 4 minutes of totality are real, and the sun was there throughout, unchanged, simply temporarily obscured from one viewing angle by one object in one narrow corridor of space. The whole present throughout, the particular temporarily obscuring it. Falling in love with mathematics. Mathematics is the language in which the universe describes itself to itself. Not the mathematics of school exercises and workbooks, but the mathematics of pattern, of the ratio between consecutive Fibonacci numbers converging on 1.618, of the inverse square law that governs both light and gravity, of the same wave equation that describes the vibration of a guitar string and the behavior of an electron. But before the Fibonacci sequence was named after Leonardo of Pisa, Fibonacci, it was known in ancient India as Matra Meru. Meru means mountain, Matra means meter, so meaning mountain of meters. Because the sequence was used to study the rhythmic patterns of language and poetry, it was also referred to heavily in ancient texts as Gopala numbers or Hemachandra numbers. Leonardo of Pisa never used the word Fibonacci to describe his work. The name is a 19th century nickname meaning son of Bonacci, popularized hundreds of years after his death. Leonardo merely used the sequence as a casual word problem about breeding rabbits in his 1202 book, Liber Abaci. He did not view it as a groundbreaking mathematical discovery. Over 1,000 years before Leonardo, Indian scholars discovered these numbers while analyzing Sanskrit prosody. In Sanskrit poetry, syllables are either short, 1 beat, or long, 2 beats. Scholars wanted to calculate exactly how many unique rhythm patterns could be made for a given total number of beats. The pioneers who named it first, one of them was Acharya Pingala from 200 BC, the earliest writer known to reference the concept. He described a rule called miso-cha, the two are mixed, to map out the structures creating the foundation for the sequence. Another one was Virhanka from the 6th century AD. He wrote down the explicit rule for the sequence that each number is the sum of the two preceding it, hundreds of years before Europe caught on. Acharya Hemchandra from 1150 AD. He wrote a clear, definitive study on these poetic numbers, which is why some modern math historians argue the sequence should properly be called Hemachandra numbers. He wrote a clear, definitive study on these poetic numbers, which is why some modern math historians correctly argue the sequence should properly, rightfully be named Hemachandra numbers. To fall in love with mathematics is to love precision, to recognize that the universe is not random, it is Ratha, it is ordered, patterned, structured all the way down in ways that are discoverable, learnable, and beautiful. It's also to recognize that the same patterns appear at every scale, from the quantum coherence in a leaf to the orbital mechanics that produce today's eclipse. The eclipse is the universe showing its mathematics in the sky. 4 minutes of totality at a point 400 times smaller than the sun, being exactly 400 times further away. The probability of standing in the path of totality on August 12, 2026 and looking up at this is very, very small. The probability of the universe having arranged itself so that this moment is possible at all in the first place, whatever it is, it happened. That's all for today. If you are in the path of totality on August 12th, go outside, look up. You don't need a telescope, but you do need protective glasses. You need your vision looking right up at the sky, pointing in the right direction at the right moment. The next episode arrives on the partial lunar eclipse of August 27th. The moon enters Earth's shadow and turns red. We go into motion, into the physics and the poetry of everything that moves. Until then, notice what is always there, even when the light is too bright to see. Happy New Moon. From concentrated heat, tapas, Ratha, and truth were born. From them the night was born, and from night the billowing ocean. From the billowing ocean the year was born, distributing the days and nights, the Lord of all that blinks its eyes, controlling them in order. Then, as before, the sun and moon were formed, heaven, earth, atmosphere were formed, Ratha and truth stretched out, and in their stretching, everything became possible.